And Florent Lambert, not merely the first of the Masters, but by a big margin the first, because only Chris Adams has qualified for the finals proper alongside with Florent Lambert. Outside the top 20, Martins Lappins and Alexander Zenkin are row 11. Maxi Fleischmann and Chris Rijmakers of Belgium, row 12. Gilles Bronder, cart number 659, Gilles Bronder, I've not mentioned previously, but often goes well here, the Dutchman, for PDB Racing. He lines up with the former world number 2, Mario Wendler. The Frenchman went ever so well in warm-up this morning, Alexis Courceau. He's on row 14 with Luca Camali. And then the guys that got through from the last chance race this morning, Patrick Pearce will start on row 15 with the Frenchman Maxime Gravouille. Another Frenchman, Julien Renaudin, is on row 16 with Alex Beggi, and the grid will be completed with the second of the only 2 Masters making the final, Christoph Adams, former double champion at European and world level, and he lines up with the guy promoted into the pre-final row 17, Janno Toysing. Janno Toysing is from Holland, drives a Gillard for PDB Racing. This is the first of our pre-finals. It's the Rotax Euro Challenge Round 1 here at Karting Genk. The first of our pre-finals will be raced over 13 laps, and calling the race from the start will be Chris Hartley.
So Janno Toysing there. Well worth making that move at the end of the second chance heat. He went from 8th to 7th on the last corner of the race. And it turned out not to be in vain, because with one getting thrown out with a technical infringement from the top 6, he gets promoted. And his day continues. He gets 2 more races now, the pre-final and the final. So this is the first of our point-scoring races for DD2 in terms of the championship now. 34 points for the race winner, 33 for second, 32 for third, and then down in 1-point increments. Later on in the final, more points available with 55 for a win, 52 for second, 50 for third, and then down in 1-point increments all the way down through the order. Also, the result of this pre-final sets up the grid for the final. Win this one, you're on pole for the final. And Zenderuva, fantastic this weekend. He's unbeaten so far on the track. He won all of his heats yesterday. And the Belgian driver who finished third in the championship and won the Winter Cup coming into this season, he is on pole position there. You can't miss him. He's got a bright turquoise colour scheme. Mika Laiho, though, is a danger. The Finnish driver is alongside him, and he was runner-up in last year's championship, and also, perhaps more importantly for this weekend, he won this race 12 months ago. And then we've got Sean Babington, the reigning senior European champion, who's moved up to DD2 this year, and 601 Matthias de Thies, the reigning champion there, with the red, white and blue colour scheme and the yellow helmet, the champion starting on the outside of row 2. So Zenderuva just backing the field up on the way into the final corner. As you look at it on screen, here's the driver to the left. That's Zenderuva. To the right, with the orange helmet, the green and white colour scheme, that is Mika Laiho. Sean Babington in blue and yellow. And Mika Laiho, as I said, with the yellow helmet, red, white and blue colour scheme. Sandro Lukovic, yellow and red and third row, and Lukas Orok from row 3 as well. They're going to get sent round again. It's a full start, so sent round again. A full start. The yellow flags waved all around the field. The start line official not happy that they were correctly bunched up, so they'll be sent round once more. For those at the back that have made it, the last 6 on the grid, having made it through the second chance heats, well, this is a bonus, and they might as well go for it, see how far up the order they can get.
Well, Chris, can I take advantage of that false start by getting a very important message over? It's for the team boss of Mika Laiho, that's Jorma Mustonen of Finland. And the important message, the chocolates were absolutely gorgeous. That's from Tiff Chittenden. Thanks to Jorma Mustonen for the Finnish chocolates. Tiff Chittenden got a soft spot where Finland chocolates are concerned.
They all gone, have they, Tiff? Yes, they've all gone. She didn't bring us any, Ken. Remember that, won't we? I mean, actually, it's a good idea. We've eaten enough chocolate over our years. Keep it away from us. Right, here they come towards the end of the lap now. Start line, the official there, the marshal, holding his arms wide, as in keep your distance between the 2 rows. Keep a gap between the 2 rows, just generating a bit of heat in the tyres. There to the left, Zenderuva, right behind him in the blue. Sean Babington, what can he do in his first pre-final in terms of DD2? Fantastic season for him last year to win the championship. And then we got the likes of Sandro Lukovic, Lucas Orrock, Barry Pullinger and Sean Slavin all going really well as well. French Canchart might be one to move up from the 5th row of the grid. Cart 6.29, equal fastest in qualifying. Just one bad heat yesterday, having putting down the order a little bit. So watch out for 6.29, the Hungarian, the tall Hungarian, the orange and red helmet and the red and white and grey race suit. And we'll keep an eye on the Masters battle as well. Florent Lambert, the red, white and blue suit. 10th row of the grid, Christoph Adams at the back of the grid. The red lights go out, the race gets underway and the pre-final starts with Mika Laiho making a terrific start around the outside of Zenderuva, but he runs a little bit wide. We got one running off the circuit just behind, but up front then Sean Babington getting into the mix as well, and he gets the lead of the race. Zenderuva's been bumped back down to 3rd position. Up to 4th place comes Sandro Lukovic, so great start for Sean Babington. He leads the way. Mika Laiho there coming into his shot now in 2nd place, led very, very briefly. Zenderuva, not a great start to the race from pole position. He drops down to 3rd place, and Sandro Lukovic, the Austrian, he's up there into 4th position. They come down through the next hairpin. We had lost one at the start of the race, but he gets going again. Otherwise, there have been no further incidents. We'll identify that one when he comes back round, but he's half a lap down.
Alex Beggi, the Italian.
Oh, yes, it is, with a bright yellow helmet, isn't it? So Alex, second time he's had a bad start today, but that one's his worst yet. And he's half a lap behind. Babington then leads the way. Laiho, Zenderuva. There might be a move here up the inside on the way into the final turn. And it was Sean Slavin that makes the move stick. So Sean Slavin picking up another place at the end of this lap then. It's Babington, Laiho, Deruva, Lukovic, Slavin up to 5th with that move. Kevin Ludy's up to 6th place as well. And Ben Cooper, he's up just outside the top 6. Watch for him. We didn't really mention him in the build-up, but Ben Cooper, the world champion, has had to fight his way through all weekend long after engine dramas in qualifying. And it looks like he might have just moved up into the top 6 as well, around at turn 5.
And some drama down the field, Chris, because Florent Lambert, with that big advantage in Masters, has gone through 27th overall, whilst Chris Adams has gone through 24th. So in Masters, Chris Adams leads Florent Lambert. And Lucas Orrock, who started on the 3rd row, has just gone through in 31st place. Big misfortune for the Brit on the opening lap.
Their confirmation, Ben Cooper did make it up into the top 6 now. So Ben Cooper in cart 628, red and white colour scheme for him. The yellow on his helmet and the Union flag on his helmet as well. He started from the 6th row of the grid and has made a terrific start to the race. So he's still very much in contention here. Battle going on for 7th place between French Canchart just behind. Barry Pullinger's dropped back a few places, but he's done this before. He's had slow starts to the race, and then he's come on really strong in the second half of the race. So we'll watch for Barry in the 631 cart and the bright blue colour scheme. Here towards us at turn 6 on screen comes the race leader, and you can see that Sean Babington has got something like a 2-3 car length lead now over Mika Laiho, but only half a cart length behind him then is Zenderuva. Sandro Lukovic hanging on to him in 4th place, and then you got Sean Slavin, who pulled off that lovely move at the end of lap number 1. He's 5th still, Ben Cooper in 6th, so no change on this lap.
Matthias de Tige also having to mount a damage limitation exercise. He was down in 15th at the end of the 2nd row. Matthias de Tige having started on the end of the 2nd lap, having started on the 2nd row. Matthias de Tige, you're just pointing out an incident, Chris.
Barry Pullinger went up the inside of Sturken, then Sturken lost it and got hit. And Sturken went into a spin. And then Marcel Schirmer came off as well at the final turn. So a couple of the top 10 runners then will drop down the field now.
We're on lap 4 of 13. Sean Babington, having got half a second on the field, hesitates so early in a race to say he's looking comfortable. Mika Laiho, always a driver who looks as if he's racing in a controlled and measured way. Been most impressed with Mika Laiho. Having said that, he's got the very considerable presence of Zenderuva behind him. Looking on screen now, they were the first of the first three of the drivers that went through. They're approaching you now. This is the right-hander at pit turn to bring them back onto the home straight. There's a driving standards flag coming up. We think that goes to cart number 609, and in that case it goes to Harold Gokaklis, the tall Latvian, picking up a driving standards flag. Zenderuva in 3rd place, we mentioned. Sandro Lukovic behind him. Ben Cooper has gone past the Scotsman Sean Slavin, so Cooper 5, Slavin 6. Ferenc Canchart just behind them. Just having a little further peep to complete that top 10. Yes, Alex Finkelstein in the Tony cart. Kevin Ludy only running 9th. And Chris Sturken, who I think Chris Hartley was telling us took the spin there, showing 10th on screen. Not sure if
Got a half spin,
Yeah.
lost about 3 or 4 places,
So
and then
that's
caused a bit of a chain
missed
reaction.
In that case, to have held on to a top 10 placing, very good. Now, Mikolaiho turning on the heat, but Sean Babington closed the door beautifully there. That was an attempted pass by Mikolaiho. He glances over his shoulder again. This is an attempted pass by Mikolaiho, and it sticks. And going through with him is Zenderuva, but not able to make the pass on Sean Babington's stick. So the right-hand hairpin onto the freeway straight on lap 6 of 13 sees our new leader Mikolaiho from Sean Babington and Zenderuva.
Sean Slavin dropped down to 7th on the previous lap at that part of the course, going onto the back straight. He got passed by Ferenc Kanchar. May have been a little bit of contact. He certainly looked like he slid sideways, and then he lost another place as well. So Sean Slavin has dropped back, lost a lot of time on the previous lap, and he's dropped back into that second group of karts now, the British driver in kart 627. So the new race leader then, Mikolaiho from Finland, last year's winner here at Genk and the runner-up in the overall championship. Sean Babington loses second place to Zenderuva on the way through the final turn. Deruva then, the pole sitter, back up to second, and now Sandro Lukovic is right on the tail as they're heading to turn 1 of Sean Babington and gets through under braking. Babington all of a sudden bumped back down to 4th place now. So 4th for the British driver. And then he's got the Anglo-Canadian on his tail, Ben Cooper, in 5th place. Right there with him, looks to the inside on the way into turn 5. And you can see him just sneaking through there. And Babington has gone from 2nd to 5th in less than half a lap. He tries to fight back at the end of the back straight, but can't quite make it through. So real frustration there for Sean Babington, who's new to this class, of course. And as Ken made the point yesterday, because they don't race DD2 in Britain where he then he won't have had very little time in the kart, apart from coming here to the Euro Challenge, having switched classes this season. So still on perhaps a slight learning curve. But Babington will, I'm sure, try and fight back now. The one behind him, of course, is the one that matched him in qualifying now. Ferenc Kanchar in 6.29. He's there right on his tail in 6th place. Over the start-finish line they go. And Babington now on the attack. Right on the rear bumper of Ben Cooper. They break super late, but there's no change of position.
Well, just looking out of the top 10, Kevin Ludi has spilled places into 13th place at the end of lap 7 of 13. Therefore, moving into the second half of the race, Kevin Ludi dropped to 13th. Matthias De Tige, who had a drop down to 17th place, he's climbed up to 11th, but still a lot of work for the defending champion to do. Just looking out over my right shoulder, just on the edge of the top 10, Matthias De Tige may have actually driven into the top 10. But Mikolaiho now, considering just how he holds off the challenge of the very potent Belgian driver, Zenderuva, who, let's not put the mockers on, but as Chris has explained, hasn't been beaten yet. There's a mechanical defects flag going to kart number 639, is that? If it's 639, it's Maxi. It's 633, which is Alexis Corso, and he's way down the field.
Alexis had a spin early on in the race, so that might have been a result of that. Yeah.
Chris Adams and Florent Lambert together on track in 19th and 20th places. My thanks to Jill. We've got 3 pairs of eyes looking on track, and Chris Adams runs 19th in kart 700. Florent Lambert runs 20th in kart 719. They're the two masters running together on track. Adams in front of Lambert.
Yeah, and Lambert now coming up to a bit of traffic, if you will, to try and close the gap to his Masters companion. So they're down in 19th and 20th positions, but battling for the Masters honours, and Adams is the one that's caught and passed Lambert. The leaders go over the start-finish line then. You'll see them going through turn 1 now then. Mikolaiho, the race leader, the orange helmet, green and white suit. He is just over half a second clear as the 633 kart pulls into the pits, as Ken was saying. He is just over half a second clear of the pole position man, Zenderuva. These were 2nd and 3rd in the championship last year, so they know each other well. Sandro Lukovic, who's been strong all weekend long in the Austrian there in 3rd place, has just fallen back from them a little bit now. Ben Cooper running in 4th. Then it's Kanchar and Babington having their battle for 5th and 6th positions. But the gap from 1st to 6th, just about 2.5 seconds now. 7th on his own still is Sean Slavin. And then we've got Sturk and Finkelstein and De Tige and Pullinger now in that next group of karts. So Matthias De Tige, the reigning champion in kart 601, has worked his way after a disastrous start to the race back up into 10th position now. Scratch that, he's 9th. He's just thrown one up the inside into the final turn. So 9th place now for Matthias De Tige. 10 laps gone, 3 to go, Ken.
Yes, we're on lap 11 of this 13-lap pre-final for the DD2s. And, well, Matthias de Tige, we talk of him as being a measured driver, taking calculated chances. Will he be satisfied if he was only going to finish the pre-final in 9th place? Well, it'd start on the inside of row 5 in the final. Or will he feel, as I suspect is the case, that he wants a little bit better than that? He's on his home circuit. Chris?
Ben Cooper has just gone into 3rd place, passing Sandro Lukovic and getting on with it because he knows he's been caught by French Kansar and by Sean Babington. So you'll see them just going out at a shot there. That group, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th altogether. But Ben Cooper now up to 3rd place from the 6th row of the grid. And he heads that group. Babington's back in that mix as well. Babington gets a good run through the final turn. And he gets ahead of French Kansar. And there might be a change here between Sandro Lukovic and Ben Cooper. Lukovic runs into the back of Ben Cooper, who gets a real push going into the first corner, but he survives, had to hang on to the wheel there, and Ben Cooper holds on to 3rd place. Meanwhile, Zenderuva, look, Kenny's right on the tail of Mika Laiho. They're free to race for it now, these two, because they're well clear of 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th.
But strangely, just when Zen looked to be, well, we say strangely, we understand why. The technical challenge area in the middle is where Zen is probably the strongest, but Mika Laiho certainly stretched his legs on that freeway back straight, didn't he? And any kind of advantage that was being gained by Zen was quickly snuffed out. Quick comment from outside the top 20. Lucas Oryx started on the 3rd front row. He's 22nd. Pat Pierce started on the 3rd back row. He's 23rd. This is the start of lap 13.
Matthias de Tige up to 8th place now. The race leaders there you see going through turn 1. That there on screen is 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th going through. You can see the gap pretty big now between the two leaders and the rest of the field. Running in 3rd place at the head of that next group of carts is Ben Cooper. Zenderuva right on the tail into the hairpin of the race leader, Mika Laiho. He gets a decent run down the back straight. Mika Laiho is going pretty defensive luck on the way into this right-hander at the end of the straight. Runs a little bit wide because of that through the next turn, but there's no real way through there. But Zenderuva has to sit behind him for the time being. No change in that second group of carts either. Battling over 3rd place as yet. There's just a couple of corners to go in the race. On the brakes then for Mika Laiho. Turn right, turn left. Is he going to get the win in the pre-final here? He's going to be the very early championship leader. He looks over the shoulder. Zenderuva looks like he's run out of ideas here. Takes a wide line going into the final corner. Tries to cut back on the way out of it, but Mika Laiho is quick enough to see the checkered flag first. Laiho wins. Zenderuva is 2nd. Ben Cooper, great drive through to 3rd place. Then it's Sandro Lukovic in 4th. 5th position goes to Sean Babington. And 6th place goes to French Kansar. Sean Slavin was 7th over the line. Matthias de Tige, who was flying and set the fastest lap of the race with a 54.01, which was 6/10 of a second quicker than some of the leaders were doing at the end of the race. He was flying, but a bit of a recovery drive in the end to 8th place. Sturken held on to 9th position, and Barry Pullinger rounded out the top 10. So some fantastic battles there. And in the Masters class, Christophe Adams did manage to fend off Florent Lambert. There was a big old gap between them on the grid, so Christophe will be pleased to score more points than the British driver there. And it was pretty close in the end. There was only 0.3 of a second between them.
Well, I'm learning, Chris, that Ben Cooper is assessed a 3 seconds penalty for having 2 wheels outside of the tram lines at the start. So that fabulous drive into 3rd place, which would give him the inside 2nd row start, now translates to an 8th place for an outside 4th row start in the final. So Ben Cooper, he will tell you this, it's all the way through his career. He does things the hard way, the Cooper curse. And Ben Cooper, 3rd on track, taking the checkered flag, classified 8th on the imposition of a 3 second penalty. 2 wheels outside the tram lines at the start.
So, yeah, just a bit too anxious to get through. I suppose the pressure on him to get a good start. And there you can see the 3 second penalty bumps him back down to 8th place in the results. Sandro Lukovic, therefore, promoted to 3rd.
Chris, can I just mention, yes. You saw the incident and I didn't, but Chris Sturken, who you've just mentioned, finishing 9th, a guy I haven't seen race an awful lot, and in a race of that calibre, to take the clout that he did and to have the little moment that he did to still finish in the top 10, that has to be a good race by cart number 645, the Dutchman.
Looking further down, we didn't really talk about him, there was so much going on, but Lucas Horrock had a nightmare there, didn't he? And it started 6th, but finished 22nd.
Yeah, it could have been far worse. When I first saw him on screen, Lucas Horrock, I think, was 28th,